Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I'm back with another layout and video for Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2020 April kits again. And I'm going to start this page off with these beautiful lemon cut files that Annette designed. And I'm going to have a lot of yellow going on. I was in a yellow mood and I've been wanting to use those lemon cut files for a while. So I'm going to just try to pick out things that go with summer yellow and the lemons. I just think they're so pretty, and I'm going to do a lot of mixed media on this layout. The first thing I'm going to do is paint up these lemons. So there's a solid lemon and some solid flowers, but then there's an open lemon and the leaves are open. So this is an interesting cut file because you can do a little bit of both to it. You can add color to it, but then you can also back the open spots with pattern paper or paper that you paint. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities for this kind of cut file, and I'm going to do both. I'm going to do some painting and I'm going to back the open spots. So the first thing that I just did was coat it with some gesso and let it dry because I want to do some blending, and I'm going to mix and match some of the mixed media goodies. I'm going to use the Art Philosophy watercolors that we get in this month's color kit with some of the Lindy's sprays that we get in, or that we've gotten in previous kits. And I'm using the Honey Art Philosophy, and I'm going to mix that with the Yellow Rose of Texas from Lindy's. And obviously I'm going to use lots of yellow because the lemons are yellow, and I'm just kind of dabbing some on there, mixing the two colors together, using some water and a brush to kind of blend it around. And then to dab some of it off, I'm just using a little napkin there. And this is just gonna, make it a little bit lighter in some areas, and then I'll keep it darker in some other areas, just to try to make it look a little more realistic here. But yeah, I really, really love how that's looking already. I love yellow, so this is gonna be nice and bright and fun. Now I wanted to do the flowers pink, of course. I have to have me some pink. But if you look at the summer market stickers and chipboard, they have pink flowers, but then they also have some of that deeper, almost red. So I was torn between making these flowers red, because I'm not a huge red fan, and red tends to, I just find it hard for me to find other colors to really look good up against bright red. So I started out with making the flowers pink, and again I'm blending a couple colors here. I'm using the Art Philosophy from this month in blush, and then I'm using a powder that we got several months ago from Lindy's. It's called Alpine Ice Rose, and it's a little bit more on the red side. So I thought I would just start with some pink and then add in a little bit of reddish bits and see how it goes, because I did want to kind of tie into that darker pink with red tones in it. I don't even know what color you would call that, but you'll see what I'm talking about later when I pull out more of those stickers and things. But yeah, this was fun. I really enjoy painting cut files like this, and this is not perfect. These are going to be layered. There's going to be all kinds of other things going on, so these aren't supposed to be perfect. There are going to be some lights and darks on the flowers, and you kind of see what I've got going there. And they're still on the pink side, which is fine. And I actually got a little bit of pink on the lemon there, but it makes it look a little more real, I think, because, nothing's ever 100% perfect. So I pulled out my white acrylic paint and thought I would add a little bit of smudging on the flowers here and there. And this is just going to add a little bit of light areas, and again, just give a little bit of depth and texture and make them a little more interesting. And I didn't want them to be just flat pink. I like for them to have some, some dark areas and some light, and they're still a little bit wet, so I was able to smudge this paint around. And this definitely lightens them up. They don't look red by any means, but yeah, I'm going to keep working with them. You can kind of see what I'm talking about there, the red color. It's not super dark red, but I don't know. I can't use super dark red. I don't know. I have an aversion to that color. So we're gonna just keep going and see what happens. I'm gonna use part of that rainbow paper from crepe paper to back one of the lemons, and I'm just gonna flip it over, flip the cut file over, and trace the shape, and then cut it out, and then glue it behind the cut file. I've already cut into this rainbow paper for the rainbow layout that I made a few weeks ago. I still have an untouched sheet of that paper. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to use it. But yeah, I love backing cut files, and so this is a pretty easy shape to trace and cut. And then I wanted to make sure I could roll up the edges of the flower there on top of that lemon, so it looked like it was kind of coming up off the page. And I like the different shades of yellow there. I like the dark versus the lighter one. So for this second one, I'm going to use this Summer Market Cartabella paper here. And there's another shot of the red in this collection. I guess that is pretty red, isn't it? I really wanted to use it, but I'm scared of the red. Okay, so here's where we're going to use the green color from this month. And this color is called Lucky. And it's very, very concentrated. It is a very bold green. It's very pretty, very springy, but a little bit of it goes a long way. I'm going to use this to back the leaves. So I just grabbed a scrap piece of cardstock here. I didn't even put gesso on it. I wish I would have, because you can kind of see there how the dark green just sort of soaked right through really quickly, and it's not going to blend as well. But that's okay. I'm not using this as a background or anything. Like I said, I'm just going to use it to back the leaves. I dabbed a little bit of Lindy's blue in there, and that color was blue Hawaiian blue, just to add some darks. And here's a good example of why gesso is always a good idea. I thought I would add some variation, so I tried to use a blue gelato, and as soon as I used my finger to smudge it, the paper started ripping and balling up. And so if you use gesso, that's not going to happen as easily. But it's okay. Like I said, this is what I'm using it for, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I just wanted to create the green that's going to go behind these leaves. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to find a spot on that green that I like, and then kind of cut it out and glue it behind the open spot there. And then I wanted to add some variations in lights and darks on there. So I go back to my white acrylic paint, and I'm using a little bit of a brush, or a little brush with a little bit of paint, and then just kind of smudging it with my finger. And I think it makes a big difference. It just creates a little bit of depth. Same thing here. I'm going to cut another part of it. This one's got a little bit of the darker area, which I like. Just makes it look a little more realistic. And do the same thing with all the leaves on both cut files. And I'm really liking how these are looking. I think they're really pretty. I do wind up taking a red gelato to the centers of the flowers to make them a little bit darker. I don't even think I filmed that part. I did that off camera, but added a little bit of the paint to this lemon here to kind of, again, give it a little bit of texture. So that's what I wound up with. And there's my picture that I'm going to scrap. It's a cute pool picture. You know me and my pool pictures. Those are my favorite ones to scrap. And I'm going to kind of tuck it in like you see right there. And I think that's how I'm going to arrange the lemons. So I'm going to go ahead and glue them together so it's just one big thing, and I can move it around together so they're not two separate ones. And one of the leaves got covered up. That's okay. That's going to happen when you start to layer things. But I love that effect of how they look layered, and then how the picture looks kind of on top of them. So I went through some of the crepe paper pieces. I'm going to pull some of these little cut apart film looking bits here. I'm going to use this yellow, and then I guess this is red. It's more of a pinky red, but it matches, and I'm going to use it as a layer, so you're not even going to see that black swan. But I really like that Hello Lovely over on the right. And then I'm going to sort through the Summer Market chipboard, pull out a couple things. I'm not going to wind up using all of them, but the stickers, the chipboard, I really wanted to incorporate that lemonade and some of these flowers some way, somehow, without pulling that dark red in there. Again, there are more lemons, and this sheet I've already cut into. This is actually, I think there's that bright green on the back. I'm going to fussy cut out a couple more lemons and then use those in a couple spots. I like the contrast between all the yellow and then all the blue in the picture. And that's why I felt like a pool photo would be perfect for this, because of the contrast in the color. All right, so I'm going to finally use the stencil that we got in the color kit. I think this is my 5th layout, and I have yet to use the stencil. So we're going to use it today to create some texture. And again, I'm using white cardstock as my background. I'm going to coat most of it with clear gesso, and this is just going to prepare it for mixed media. Now here's where I'm going to use the stencil. I just want this to add texture to the background, and I'm going to use some modeling paste. My Liquitex modeling paste is almost dried up and starting to kind of get dry and hard, so I can't really use it that much. So I pulled out another little bottle that I had of modeling paste, and I'm going to use that. So we're just going to scrape it on, or squeeze it on, and then use my palette knife to scrape it on. And this is a great way to get texture, because when the paste dries, it's very it's hard and rough, and so when you touch it, it's going to feel nice and bumpy. And when you add mixed media on top of it, it's going to look even more awesome, because the color is going to kind of run all around all these little circles from the stencil. And this part right here doesn't wind up being perfect, because I moved the stencil around the layout, and some of the circles wind up getting smudged, and in the end you can kind of see it, but I think it just, you know, it's just, it adds to the background. It's not perfect, and that's okay. I never want my backgrounds to be perfect. They're just supposed to look kind of messy and whimsical, and just adds texture to the background. So all right, so I'm mixing 2 different blues from Lindy's with a little bit of the green, and you can see what I'm talking about here. A little bit of that green goes a long way. I did not want that much green on there, so we're just going to work with it. I wanted the background to be blue, but yeah, with some green mixed in, but that's way too much green. So all I'm doing is spraying this stuff on, adding some water, and then just turning the paper, and you can definitely see the texture from that modeling paste now. This is a great way to get just a color wash on your background. I kind of just want a really pretty blue area all around or behind all those lemons and my photo. And so this is a fun way, it's pretty quick, just to let the color kind of run and spread and blend together. You don't even really need to use a brush. All you need to do is just tilt the paper around until the paint kind of covers where you want it to cover, and then you just let it dry. I'm using, let's see, the 2 blue colors that I used were from Lindy's older color kits, Tiffany Lou Blue and the Blue Hawaiian Blue, and then I dripped a little bit of that Lucky Art Philosophy on there, and I wish I wouldn't have dripped as much, but it's going to wind up creating the pretty aqua color that I want in the end. And that's the beauty of gesso, is that when it dries, it creates this barrier between all this color and all this liquid and the paper. And so if you make a mistake or you add too much of something that you decide, oh, I don't want that, it's easily, you know, you can just grab a napkin and dab it up pretty easily. And so you haven't made a permanent mistake. It's easy to blend it out or to sop it up a little bit. All right, so I think I've got the background done at this point. I'm going to start to work on embellishing. And so I'm going to pull out some stickers from that Summer Market sticker sheet. I want to use this really cute jar of lemonade and then that little mason jar of flowers. And I'm going to trim off that white border going around the edges. I just feel like it's a little distracting and it's just too much of a white border. So I'm going to trim that off and then add some adhesive foam behind those to give them some dimension. And I'm going to kind of layer them together over on the side. I'm going to create this little cluster over on the Hello Lovely area there with some more summery type things. And so originally this started out as, you know, it was just going to be lemons, lemons, lemons. And then I just decided to add more things. And so it's just going to be more of a summer thing. So I've got all the lemons, I've got all the bright colors. Now I'm going to have, you know, lemonade, I'm going to have flowers, and fun in the sun. I think I'm going to use that little piece as a part of a title, I guess. And yeah, there's some tiny little lemon stickers. This is a little strawberry thing. I decided to add some strawberries in there, and it just says strawberries. I'm going to tuck that under the bottom there. And then this little piece says summertime, I think. So yeah, it's just going to be a fun summer icons in general. I really like how that Fun in the Sun oval fits on the photo right there. It kind of goes with the white where the sun is shining on the water. It fits perfectly in that little spot. All right, so I'm going to work on layering things behind the picture. I'm going to start with some white tissue paper here and just create this little messy border behind the picture. And then add some adhesive foam behind that because I want to raise that up off the page. And I am going to wind up adding some foam behind the cut file as well because I want those lemons and those leaves and those flowers to look like they're, you know, kind of standing up off the page. So I like how that's looking. I forgot to show you the background up close. You can kind of see where I was talking about where some of the circles got flattened out and smudged, so they're not really circles anymore. But I think it's fine. I think it still adds to the interest of the background, and a lot of it's covered up. You know, you really can only see some of it around the edges of everything and in between all the little open spots of the cut file, which is what I wanted. I wanted it to be kind of a subtle background. I wanted it to play off of the color in the water and just sort of look like the pool is the background, kind of like she's emerging from all the water in the picture and the background, if that makes sense. All right, so we're going to add thread. I've got some of the aqua color thread there on the bottom of the picture, and then I'm going to mix and match a couple colors of thread because I don't have that reddish pink color. So I blended a light pink with kind of a coral reddish color, and it matched close enough. So I'm going to add that over in between those two lemons on the left because I just wanted another pop of that color there. And I am going to use that Fun in the Sun piece on top of the picture because I have a lot of open space in that area. And you can still see plenty of the blue in the pool, and I really like that Fun in the Sun. All right, so I'm just going to take a little bit of foam and add it under each of the big lemons so that the bottom parts of all the lemons are going to kind of curl up off the page, which is what I was going for here. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue all that down because I know that that's not going to change. That's exactly where that's going to go. I've got my thread in place. I've got the photo in place. Now I'm going to work on this little side cluster section. I'm going to go ahead and add some foam behind that as well, and then tuck that underneath the picture. And then just continue to work on the rest of it. Oh yeah, I haven't glued the photo down yet. That's probably important. I should glue that down. There we go. All right, that's done. Glue everything down but the picture. That would be something that I would do. A couple more leaves. I keep saying the wrong thing today. What is going on? A couple more lemons. And then I wanted to use this little flower, what do you call that? I don't even know. Flower, it's not a pot. It's kind of like a shelf underneath that little window. I didn't want the window part, so I'm going to cut that off and just use the flowers. And I say this all the time. I 100% believe it. You do not have to use stickers as they come. If you only want a part of a sticker, then cut that part off and use it. You do not have to use every single part of a sticker. You know, if there's just one little part of it that you want to use, like a border part of it or an edge or one little flower on it, then cut it out. You know, I don't think I will ever use that actual window with the word open on it. I just don't ever see myself having an appropriate picture to use. So I'm just going to cut off the part that I know I will use and use it. This is a chipboard flower cluster piece. I'm going to use that over the image that's on the Fun in the Sun piece and kind of use that instead. And yeah, it's got that deep red color in it. I'm just going to go for it. I think it looks okay since I've got more of that deep reddish pink here and there. I think it winds up looking okay. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And then come in with a couple other things and just try some things. I don't use everything that I try. I just never know until I take it off the sticker sheet and play around with it, see if it looks good. This is a tiny little strawberry. I'm going to trim off the edges. And again, stick that right over there. It's so tiny. Little bitty teeny tiny strawberries. Like I almost couldn't cut around the edges because they were so tiny. But I thought they were adorable. I thought about sticking a little strawberry cluster down at the bottom here of the leaves. Why do I keep saying leaves? Get with the program. Hello, that's a lemon. Ugh, but it was too much. I wanted to keep it yellow down there. I don't know. I just didn't. They were so tiny. They just looked like little red droplets. So I just decided to add those into the little cluster over there that's underneath my lamp right now. It's reflecting. I'm sorry, that's so shiny. Now you can see it better. All right, so I had a couple more strawberries that I cut from a crepe paper sheet, and then I'm going to glue that little label that I stuck up above the photo there for a little pop of that red color up there. Here comes another lemon. Where is it going to go? I'm going to tuck it in over there on the right. I'm getting close to being finished here. What else am I going to do? What am I looking for? Oh yeah, the crepe paper stickers. I thought about using that Happy Place banner. I do use this wonderful piece. I think I've tried to use this wonderful piece on every layout that I've made this month and have not used it yet, but it's going right there and it's going to stay right there. And then there's a couple little yellow flowers. I thought those would make perfect little details there. And then my title is just going to be This is Summer. So I used the This Is from the crepe paper sheet, and then I was trying to figure out how I wanted to place summer. So I at first thought that I would stack it, S-U-M and then M-E-R underneath it, but I didn't like it. So I played around with it off camera and decided on moving it down toward the bottom. And then that left me with an open spot in between the cluster and the title. So I thought that I would add my journaling there on this little crepe paper label sticker. And so that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to add another lemon. Where am I going to put that lemon? Oh, I think I'm going to add it right there to the bottom of the title. So it looks like it's kind of hanging down. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. That's where my journaling is going to go, which I rarely add journaling to label stickers like this, but it just seemed to work. And it was the perfect little open spot for it. So I'm going to pop it up with some foam. It's going to go right there, somewhere right there. And then I think I add another little summer sticker under it. Yes, a little summer sticker from that summer sheet, or summer market sheet. I think that's it. That is it. I added the date, and that's it. I love how this turned out. I know I say that every time, but when I finally see the final image, I really do. I love the colors of this. You know, I love me some blue and some yellow and some pink, and I really love this cut file. Lemons are just so summery, and the colors just, the yellow is so bright, and I think they look so pretty mixed in with all of this aqua colors and the pinkish reddish colors. But yeah, I hope this inspires you in some way to create a fun summery layout with this cut file. You can get it for free over on the website. If you are registered, you have an account with HipKit Club, then you have access to all of the free cut files every month, and you definitely want to get that one if you like lemons, because it's perfect. So let me know if you have any questions. I will see you guys again in my next layout, in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you have a great week.